Kopi Dulu, grab your coffee. It's time for a weekly tarot reading. Brian Noah with you from Cards of Light. Welcome to my tarot table for our weekly reading for the week of July 20th, 2025. And how can it be nearly the end of July already? This year has just flown. Take a couple soft breaths here before we deal the cards. Once again, using the Thoth deck this week, as we usually do. Sometimes we'll use a Rider deck or a Marseille deck, but most of the time it's the good old Thoth. Okay, in the physical dimension of our lives this week, we have the Aeon. In the social emotional dimension, we have the Hanged Man. Man, that I want to go back up and count the number of times that card has come up so far this year. The Wheel, so 3 majors so far. And we have Adjustment, so 4 majors this week. And so in the physical, we've got the Aeon, the Hanged Man, in the social emotional, in the mental dimension, Fortune, and in the spiritual dimension, Adjustment. Not sure that I mentioned those as we were going along as far as what dimension they are in. I clearly need more coffee already today. All right. Take these one by one, these 4 major cards. So lots of big energy this week for the week to come. The Aeon is the card in older decks that would be called Judgment, or the Final Judgment. And I think of this card as reckoning, as summing up. Sometimes it can be events in our lives that are, kind of momentous and wrapping up marriages or funerals, those sorts of things. But something that kind of calls an accounting and gets everything kind of tidied up, squared away as much as it can be. So coming as this does in the physical dimension, I have a strong feeling that this is about finances, and that something is either coming to a head or has come to a head recently in terms of finances. So this could be if you have been, for instance, waiting for the resolution of some sort of financial matter, a contract, or a sale of something, or I'm getting some kind of sense here that it may even be something involving the legal system, maybe a resolution. So anyway, look for a resolution this week in that regard. If this is ringing a bell with you, if there's something that you have been anticipating, particularly in the financial aspect of your life, ought to see either a resolution to that this week, or at least making steady progress toward that. Okay, we have the Hanged Man over here in the social emotional dimension. And as this card always comes up, I always say that it is about 2 major themes. One is self-sacrifice, and another is having a unique perspective, getting a different look at things, and being true to the deepest part of ourselves without regard to how others around us or our society may regard that. And so it's good to contemplate this as how we value sacrifice, because I think in our society now, we really don't seem to value that. We value it in a symbolic sense, and we like to talk about things like first responders and all of that and the sacrifices that they make, or the military, but those people are not really taken care of either very well by our society. And as far as the folks that are working in the healthcare field, particularly the people that are doing the hard work day after day in that field, nurses and aides and those types of folks, or for God's sake, teachers. I mean, we just do not provide those people even a decent living a lot of times. And that's some of the most important work in our society. The same with social workers and all of that. And so we might want to think about that. We might want to think about why that is that we idealize certain types of sacrifice, but others we just kind of expect it to happen and don't value it and don't show our appreciation. So I'm going to be thanking a teacher this week for the work that they do. And in the community where I live, I think that this is doubly important. It's not been an easy go for our educators here. And so find a teacher, find one of your old teachers, and just give them a word of thanks this week. Okay. But in general, in the social emotional dimension of our lives this week, we need to forge our own path, look at things from our own unique perspective, and not be ashamed of that. Up here in the mental dimension, we have the fortune card, and this one has come up over and over again as well. And it is about the fact that in what we experience as material reality, or consensus reality, maybe another way to say that, things are always changing. In this material world, they don't stand still. They're constantly moving, shifting, changing. And so that can give us problems. That can make us unhappy because we don't always know what to expect with those changes. We may like things the way they are and not want them to change. We may work hard to get to a certain situation, and then something comes along and changes it. And we have just been deluged with change here in this calendar year, at least, and for quite some time. But especially this year, it seems like the pace of change in just a lot of areas of our lives has been relentless. And so we can fight against that. We can feel bad about it. We can feel angry about it. We can feel hurt about it. Or we can try to find this still point where everything is changeless and perfect and beautiful and loving and eternal. And we do that by going within with spiritual practices such as meditation and other spiritual practices that draw us into the center of ourselves. And from that perspective, we can hold to what is true, what is loving, what is light, what is beautiful, what is eternal and changeless. And then we can deal, whatever happens flying around this circle, we can deal with it because we have that security there in the center. So coming in the mental dimension, one of the most important things that we can do during times of disruption and change is to get our minds still. And so I'm going to link again. I've done this several times when this card's come up. I'm going to link again to a post about a very simple meditation practice that is easy to do, easy to learn, and incredibly powerful in getting us to that quiet and calm within our minds, within our nervous systems. So I'll link to that in the description. If you want to check that out, I'd love to hear what you think about it. Up here in the spiritual dimension, we have the adjustment card. And this in older decks would have been called justice, but I kind of like the concept of adjustment. Again, in what we experience in material reality in this life, things are always changing, and that is mainly because they're going out of balance and being drawn back into balance, and then going out of balance in another direction and being drawn back into balance. There are inevitable adjustments when you look at mechanics or physics. This is just a part of nature in the material world. Things move along, move forward, they go out of balance, they correct. And we do not, as human beings, see these corrections for what they are a lot of times. We, again, get hung up on what we want, what we don't want, and we cannot see the big picture and why some things that we think are horrible and by any objective measure are, are unpleasant, violence, things that are hurtful to people, all of that sort of thing. We can't see the big picture as to why those things happen in the world and why they are actually necessary. We have to trust that over the long haul, that things are proceeding the way that they need to in order for the whole system to be ultimately in balance. So this card relates really well to the Fortune card. It also relates really well to this Aeon card with the notion of reckoning and things ultimately working themselves out the way that they are supposed to, even if we don't like it. We have to have some level of trust that that is what is going on, because otherwise nothing makes sense, right? I'd like to hear your thoughts on all of this. So coming in the spiritual dimension, I would say this is a prompt to step back from our desires and aversions and accept the karmas in our lives and in our societies as processes that are working themselves out, and doing our best as we can to get our minds quiet, to listen to the small voice inside us, to come at things from our unique perspective, and to do what we can to help the work along, to bring things into balance if they aren't. So if there's war and suffering and hatred in the world, then let's find ways to be kind and loving and to alleviate people's pain and despair as much as we can, even if that is in small ways, just in our own neighborhoods and our own communities. That stuff all ripples out and has an effect. I have to believe that. I don't think I'd be able to go on if I didn't. So that is the way I would look at these cards. And I would love to hear what you think. If any of this that I've said seems to be, you're just not buying it for some reason, let's have a conversation about that. I would truly like to hear your perspective and to learn from it. So leave comments here with the video. Pop on out to the weblog at atarotjourney.com, and you can find my contact information there if you want a little bit more private conversation than you would have in comments on social media. I'm certainly open to that. I hope that this summer is going well for you, and I hope to see you again next week. In the meantime, I wish you peace. Take care of yourself.